Next in the basic submission series is the Omaplata. So just showing all these from a basic guard setup, like attacking an arm, like you want to set up an arm bar. There's myriad variations on how to set this thing up. So playing everything off the arm bar for reference today. Okay, so if I control the head and here, I start trying to attack this arm. And the last time we were kind of looking at like what you can do, different things you can do to, if he starts pulling his weight back here, we can stuff the arm for our triangle here. You know, even if I have this cross grip, you could use that to stuff and get it. But oftentimes too, if someone feels you yanking on the arm, they're gonna keep their elbow nice and tight on the inside here, and they're not necessarily gonna jerk back because they know that might be disadvantageous. So they might put their weight forward and try and stack you here, which is very common. But if I have my foot on the hip here, there's a pivot point. If I can get my hips off the ground, notice my knee behind his armpit here. I'm gonna make a shearing pivot here. I'm gonna throw my right hip that way as I push off of his hip, and I'm gonna scoop under his leg here as I do make this pivot here. So I flowered my leg here, I've scooped his leg. If I keep rotating, I'm gonna kick off the ground once, control his arm here, kick forward, sit up. I keep control of his wrist, and I make this transition from the hips, scoop underneath his shoulder, and I can put my legs into an S position here, or if you're comfortable in the figure four, that's okay. But I like just a good clamp here, and then this leg can be strong, post it into the ground, or you can have it here. I'm gonna scoop under his shoulder here and make a good grip, or I can just scoop it here and come up and sit my weight forward. As I start to sit my weight forward, I'm gonna drive my knee towards the ground, and you get a quick tap. If you have someone with an extra flexible shoulder, or maybe you didn't set things up as tight as you would like, you can create a different angle on the shoulder lock by sitting away from them. So I'll keep this grip, but notice I'm gonna sit my hip away. Boom, a little adjustment here. That changes the angle of his chicken wing, and now I drive my knee forward and sit forward, and it's potentially a quicker tap. Just another little adjustment to make if you're having a hard time, or if you're trying to submit a yogi. So from here, just be nice to your partner, unwrap your leg, unwrap your arm for them, and then go back. Once again, basic omoplata, just setting it up. I threaten an arm. It could be like a 2-on-1 wrist control. Like I want to set up an armbar from a 2-on-1. He drives his weight forward here. It's a great time to set this up. My foot's on his hip. I've already sheared my leg high because I wanted to armbar him. So now I just scoop underneath and take advantage of his weight coming forward. I'm going to grab the other opposite arm here, kick through, and notice I'm shifting from my left hip as I kick through to my right hip. Very important detail. I'm going to stuff his wrist as I try to sit up and switch from the leg control to the hip. I'm controlling his hip with my elbow locked in tight here, and then I can scoop underneath, control his shoulder. There's various other submissions from right here, some dirty catch moves. So make sure when you're ready to finish the omoplata, make sure your legs are in alignment here. You can sit forward and get the finish, driving your knee towards the ground, or you can sit out, make your angle, and then get a quicker one. There's a few other ones from here, right from this grip, scooping underneath. Let me turn my hand away and keep it scooped tight against his clavicle here. I make a gable grip, and then I'm going to drive my knee towards the ground as I drive his shoulder up. And you get omoplata, scapular crunch, various shoulder torture here. And if they don't tap from that, you can of course just let go and sit all the way up into the omoplata. Oftentimes too, if they're starting to squirm around too, like say if he tries to bring his hips up in the air, they give opportunities to start cranking on the face. So I'm going to scoop with the back of my hand towards his face. I make a connection, and then in S grip, we start to crank upwards on the face. Very dirty, very rude. Only if you absolutely need it type of move. It could really, really hurt someone if you pull on it hard, and even if you pull on it light, they're done. So you know, save that one for someone you really don't like or someone who's really trying to attack you. So, basic omoplata from guard. Once you have the armbar, the triangle, the omoplata, there's various ways to string them together. They're all related, because if one's not working out, you go to one. If they give you a different reaction, you go to the other. So from this armbar context we've been talking about, again, however I decide to attack his arm, he's going to usually react one of two ways. He's going to base his elbow in either way. If he bases his elbow in, sometimes he might base his elbow in and start to base his hips back. Right? If he starts to do that, I could try and attempt, that's a decent time to attempt the stuff for the triangle, if he pulls his weight back. Okay? There's also, here, as he feels me go to his hip, controlling his arm, he might try and stack me, the more common reaction here. So this also can be used to push off of his hip and stuff his arm for the triangle. However, more commonly, I want to use his forward thrust, his forward weight here, driving forward on me, use that against him. I'm going to let my hips loose and let my knees come towards me a little bit so my hips come off the ground. That's him doing the work for me. And then I'm going to scoop his leg. So as I feel his hip weight come forward, I let my hips come off the ground and I start to pivot underneath him. I get the wrist control, kick through. As I'm stuffing the wrist here, there's various ways to transition. I could grab his hip here, but I want to keep control of this wrist, especially in no-gi. Guys are slippery, so as I want to get my legs in line here, I'm going to sit up, stuff the wrist, scoop the shoulder, get my legs in line. Like I said, I can figure 4, or you can just have the S in your legs here and drive your weight forward. Once you understand that concept, then you can just run it as a drill. And we'll go armbar, triangle, omoplata, right? So I can run through each submission. Boom. Armbar. He could stack me, pull his arm out, help me set up my triangle. And then I can finish that one. From here, he could try and bring his weight forward and stack me again to defend the triangle. From here, I'm going to use that weight against him, scoop his leg, kick through, sit up for the omoplata. Omoplata, scapular crunch, face crank combo, pure murder for your partner. Wrap them. So yeah, the basic armbar, triangle, omoplata. Just go through flow the subs. You want to hit the drill for like 3 to 5 minutes, just going through your subs. It's just going through your catalog here, right? So I'm setting up the armbar. Boom. He stacks, pulls his elbow in. I feel that happening. I'm going to scoop and undo my leg and get my thigh tight against his neck here, foot on the hip. Now I have to find my angle that I was talking about. Get my knees pinched together close to my heel, extend my hip, bite down, dorsiflex the feet. And then another good note here is I keep my hips in the air as I'm crunching him down, because he'll inevitably be trying to stack me or to try and defend here. So hips up, heels down to get the finishing. Boom. At the same time you're exposing the arm. It's a great combo. So if he does successfully stack me here though, if he catches it early and he's got some good defense and he's got good weight distribution, I can scoop underneath, get here, stuff, make your transition, get to the plata. So make sure you're very well versed in the armbar, the triangle, and the omoplata, and then make sure you're very well versed in combining them all. Like I said, there's other ways to play it. For instance, if we set it up triangle first, right? So say I stuff here, I set up my triangle, I can get my finish here, right? I can get him right here, but say he stacks, right? And this sets up a different omoplata opportunity. It sets it up on this side, scoop, here. Say he feels that getting set up and he turns back into me. You kick him down, armbar him back on this side. So different ways that you can run the drill, but For the curriculum, you need to know armbar, triangle, omoplata. Make sure you know.